Breaking news: to load nuclear fuel, Erdogan challenges Biden and invites Putin to a ceremony. The nuclear fuel loading ceremony is scheduled for April 27 at the Akuyu nuclear power plant, and Russian President Vladimir Putin may attend, according to Turkish President Recep Erdogan. Dmitry Peskov, Putin's press secretary, deftly handled the political bombshell by not contradicting Erdogan's statement. Erdogan claims that Putin may make the ceremony part of an official visit. Putin has only participated in events related to the Akuyu NPP via video conference up until this point, but he promised to show up in person for the 2023 launch ceremony when he officially kicked off construction on the prestigious project in April. Rosatom has delivered on its promise to finish the project on time, and now it is Putin's turn. Apparently, Erdogan doesn't give a hoot about the International Criminal Court issuing a arrest warrant for Putin. Ignoring it is something Chinese President Xi Jinping has demonstrated. Putin is expected to visit India twice this year, first for the G20 summit in September and then for the SCO summit in 2023, according to Russia's G20 Sherpa Svetlana Lukash. Officially, Turkey maintains that, although Turkey is not a state party to the Rome Statute, the activities of the ICC are closely followed and our officials attend the annual meetings of the Assembly of States Parties which take place in The Hague or New York. However, Erdogan has been vocally dismissing the Anglo-Saxon plot to demonize Putin. While Erdogan made fiery comments on Sunday, promising to teach America a lesson, by inviting Putin to be the chief guest at the launch of the Akuyu NPP, an unquestionably historic event, Erdogan basically signals his profound appreciation for Putin's contribution to the expansion and deepening of Turkish-Russian relations. Erdogan will likely use the successful launch of the Akuyu NPP as part of his presidential legacy in the upcoming election. Indeed, the $20 billion Akuyu NPP is the first of its kind from a variety of perspectives, including being the only large nuclear power plant in Turkey, with 4 Russian VVER-1200 reactors, and the largest project in the history of Russian-Turkish cooperation. It is also the first NPP project implemented according to the BU model: build, own, and operate. This procedure has brought Turkey right up to the BRICS's front door. It's a different story that the West never extended an equal partnership to Turkey. Once again, the 2016 US-backed coup attempt against Erdogan was traumatic and left him severely traumatized. The rift in Turkish-American ties has never been fully healed. However, credit must be given to Turkey, which has a long and distinguished history in international diplomacy, as it is also a shrewd regional power uniquely positioned as a swing state and a bridge between the West and the East, endowed with an intuitive cognition of the looming confrontation between the West and Russia and the struggle to shape up the world order. Evidently, Turkey foresaw the impending storms and realized that the West's decline is a geopolitical reality and that Turkey should position itself ahead of time rather than being overtaken by events. However, Turkey's relations with Russia are fraught as well. Erdogan's political savvy was crucial because he prioritized, in his own diplomacy, developing an excellent working relationship with Putin over the course of the 7 years since the Russian military intervention in Syria. Putin, for his part, places a premium on face-to-face negotiations. Putin has said publicly on multiple occasions that Erdogan is difficult to work with because he is a stubborn interlocutor who will not budge on issues important to Turkey. But as a realist, Putin appreciates and even accepts this quality in a leader. Putin has mentioned instances in which he and Erdogan had disagreements, but each time he doubled down on trying to find a fair solution. Erdogan was moved by the unspoken goodwill, and a high level of trust between them eventually emerged. The international community, including Israel, has lauded China for its role in mediating the normalization of Saudi-Iranian relations. Opponents are now keeping quiet. On Monday, the Jerusalem Post predicted that a warming of relations between Saudi Arabia and Iran will result in lightning-fast moves on the Middle Eastern chessboard in the near future. However, Russia's robust efforts behind the scenes to bring about a Saudi-Syrian rapprochement and Syria's broader integration into its Arab neighborhood are not yet on the radar but destined to be equally significant. Russia has performed admirably in Syria, completing its security mission to defeat the terrorist threat to the government, and then following up by putting political and diplomatic underpinnings to boost that country's stabilization and reconstruction, in contrast to the United States, which left a trail of death and destruction as it withdrew with unfinished business from its forever wars. Putin may have taken advantage of every possible opening with Egyptian President Sisi to communicate with Assad. Egyptian Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry met with visiting Syrian Foreign Minister Faisal Mekdad on Saturday, with the goal of supporting the Syrian people to restore the country's unity and sovereignty over its whole territories, according to the Egyptian Foreign Ministry. Ultimately, however, Putin's personal diplomacy is at its best in his efforts to repair Turkey's strained relationship with Syria. Putin understands that peace and stability in the Levant depend on Ankara and Damascus working together, and that this is both possible and necessary. Putin basically supports the Adana Agreement from 1998 as the foundation for effectively addressing the Kurdish separatist challenge, which limits Washington's ability to fish in troubled waters and may even cause it to re-evaluate its occupation of one-third of Syrian territories under the pretext of fighting terrorism. Erdogan now sees the benefit for Ankara in cooperating with Damascus because Washington has hidden motives in supporting the militant Kurdish groups in northern Syria that foster cross-border terrorism against Turkey. Erdogan would have liked to meet with President Assad before the May elections because he believes that the Turkish domestic opinion also favors a Turkish-Syrian rapprochement. However, the occupation of Syrian territory by Turkey continues to be a problem. Russia is making significant efforts to resolve the problem. Deputy foreign ministers from Turkey, Russia, Iran, and Syria are scheduled to meet this week in Moscow, and there is hope that they will be able to reach an agreement. If that occurs, Putin will have achieved a major diplomatic victory, and his trip to Turkey for the AKUNPP's ceremonial launch may go down in history as a watershed moment in the geopolitics of the Eastern Mediterranean and Black Sea.